Responsible for gaming operations at the Seminole Tribe of Florida since 2001, James F. Allen has guided the development of Seminole gaming into one of the world's most profitable gaming entities, with 7 casinos located throughout Florida. He led the Seminole Tribe of Florida's 2007 acquisition of Hard Rock International, the first acquisition of a major international company by a North American Indian tribe. He also successfully guided gaming compact negotiations between the Seminole Tribe, the state of Florida, and the US Department of the Interior. As chairman of Hard Rock International, he oversees all operations of one of the most globally recognized brands, known for rock music and its signature cafes, hotels, casinos, memorabilia, and live concerts, with venues in 71 countries, including 168 cafes, 23 hotels, and 11 casinos, plus the recently named Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Mr. Allen led the development team for the highly successful Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casinos in Tampa and Hollywood, which opened in 2004. And he has directed Hard Rock International's aggressive expansion program in the hotel and hotel casino sectors. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Allen to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Tribal Council of the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the 4,000 tribal members of the Seminole Tribe to Hard Rock Hollywood. This is an amazing event, and as I tried to understand a little bit more about what the purpose and the goals of the event were, it became very intriguing for me to be honored to be able to give you some comments. I'm an individual that doesn't, in a welcome presentation like this, I don't have a lot of slides. I recognize we have a schedule. But certainly the opening, whether it be the video, the Pledge of Allegiance, those type things, I think, bring us back down to reality. Sometimes we lose our ability to focus on the little things in life. But when we talk about equality and we talk about trying to create, an advancement of business, the story of the Seminole Tribe is pretty amazing, and I'm just one individual that's been fortunate enough to work for the tribe, as was mentioned in my bio, since 2001. And when I think about the now over 37,000 employees that represent the tribe on a global basis, either directly employed, and the direct employment's a little over 20,000 of the total 30,000 through our franchisees and licensees, the story of the tribe is pretty amazing. Some people may not realize, but the Seminoles are known as the unconquered warriors. Some people may not realize the Seminoles are one of the largest producers of cattle in the United States, one of the largest producers of citrus in the state of Florida, and have many, many businesses that hopefully will continue to grow the history, the heritage, and the economic benefits of the tribe for the 4,000 members, and obviously that population continues to expand. So those things are very important. When I think about the Hard Rock brand, I think I was recently quoted, when I went to the Tribal Council and said, I have this idea that I think we should buy Hard Rock. And at the time, we were a licensee. There was a licensee deal signed back in late 2000. And I somewhat joked, but I think there's probably some validity to it. I think the tribe thought I had lost my mind because they had said to me, what do you mean buy Hard Rock? I said, buy the brand. We're paying them X amount of dollars, And I think that we have the ability to create an economic structure that we can compete with anyone on a global basis in order to purchase this particular brand. Well, unbeknownst to me, and I literally will talk about the mission of this conference, and I certainly want to be respectful to time. If I run over a little bit, I promise I won't talk much when I'm on the panel. But I was persistent. There's a couple things in life that are fundamentals to me. Honesty and integrity, they are the most important things. If you don't have it, you may have some short-term success. But I fundamentally believe on a long-term basis, if you have honesty and integrity during the good days and the bad days, when people want you to do things that you shouldn't do, you'll be more admired and respected if you stand up for what is right and what is honest. Those things matter. But I had no idea as I, drove the chairman of Rank at the time, literally crazy that we want to buy this brand. And they called me on July 4th of 2006 and said that we're going to put the brand up for sale. I said, well, what do you mean you're going to put the brand up for sale? We want to buy it. They said, oh, no, we're going to run a process. Well, they ran a process where 72 bidders participated. Private equity funds, other hotel companies, other restaurant companies. So when you think about the Seminole tribe with sovereignty, at that time the brand was only in 40-some countries around the world, and we're going to be inheriting all these leases, all these joint ventures. I'll be candid. They did not want to sell it to the tribe. And I actually sat down with certain individuals, not to be named here today, and said, if you don't sell it to the tribe, then what is your reason not doing so? What is the motive, okay? Is it because the tribe is Native American? Is it because you think we're going to utilize the tribe's sovereignty to try to get a competitive advantage? And I will tell you, those negotiations and those, I guess you could say, borderline threats from me made it very clear that we were not going to go away easily. We submit our bid, and guess what happened? They rejected it. We were represented by Greenberg Traurig. I'm not sure if there's anybody in the room that's familiar with them, but a very, very large international law firm. Gary Epstein is the head of M&A, and Gary was actually on Jewish holidays in Israel. And I said to his partner here, I certainly am somebody that believes in God. I go to church just about every Sunday if I'm not too hungover or something, so a little humor. But I try to make 5:30 mass. But the reality is that this is not fair. The tribe is being rejected because of, I believe, people that did not understand or potentially may have had other motives. So we worked around the clock in about 30-some hours, and I really mean around the clock. Nobody slept. I think it was 37, 38 hours, and we resubmitted our bid. And obviously, we were fortunate enough to keep getting narrowed down, and then it was between ourselves and I guess about 3 or 4 private equity funds, and we were able to prevail. That was a historic day because it was, as mentioned in the bio, the first time a Native American tribe ever competed on a global stage. And this wasn't just with local banks. I mean, this was like with private equity funds like TPG or whoever else could have been involved. These are some of the largest financial conglomerates in the world. So how does that tie to today's conference? I think it just shows that if you are patient, you are polite, and most importantly, if you're persistent, good things can happen. There is always negativity. We have town hall meetings, and I always mention to them, and I literally still do them constantly. In fact, I'm on my way to Tampa right after this. That 20% of the employees, we're just not quite sure where we stand. 80% of the employees who I really worry about. Because 10%, these numbers are around, if I pick them up at their house every morning, they're still not going to do a good job. They're not going to be motivated. They're not going to care. They're always going to find the negativity in any situation. And honestly, I don't worry about them at all because they will eventually terminate themselves. And that's okay. Sometimes management gets so frustrated at that. We need to fire them. No, we don't need to fire anybody. They'll fire themselves. How many people still go to the grocery store, do their own shopping? I do, okay? You never know who you run into at the grocery store. And I have a fundamental belief that if you run into that employee, that maybe it didn't work out, you need to be able to say, hello, how you doing? Hopefully it's working better. Those things matter. And I think that when we think about the other 10%, they're so high on life that they're going to contribute in a positive way no matter what. It's the 80% that can be affected by the negativity of the 10% or the positive of the other 10%. And that's what life's about for me. I'm not telling you how you should or shouldn't manage your business, but what I can tell you is that's what's been, if you will, the formula for me personally and professionally in order to obtain success. I've been very fortunate in my career that I've been involved with a lot of world-renowned projects from the ground up. So we certainly have had an amazing run here the last 16 years with the Seminole Tribe, but whether it was working with Saul Kersner, creating Atlantis, and I won't talk about my Trump days, I promise, okay? I don't want to, believe me, he is a little crazy. I'll go on the record, all right? So, but there actually were some good days back in the 86, 87, 88 era. But what I can tell you is that those fundamentals matter. And I'm going to close with this. When I saw the middle class title in the headline, I said, well, what does that mean? How do we define middle class? There's a lot of people that are middle class and they act like they are, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And there are certainly a lot of people that maybe are, in some definition, lower class, and they're some of the greatest people that you've ever met in your life. So I found the definition very intriguing, and certainly not now, but I would love to learn more about that. But here's what I'll tell you. I've been working full-time since 1973, 74. And I went to work at such a young age because my parents, frankly, had real economic problems. Basically, my father's businesses went broke. Okay, and we were probably classified as middle class, but I promise you, we were as poor as anybody, okay? We had a system where if you called the house, let it ring twice, and then hang up and call back again. That way we knew it wasn't a bill collector. We lost everything. We literally lost everything. We became homeless. And people say, Jim, how do you work? Why are you so committed to what you do? Anybody ever been to the Jersey Shore? Well, there's this legendary hotel. It's not there any longer, but it's called the Thunderbird Hotel. It's tattooed in my brain. It's about a block off the beach in Margate, New Jersey. And unfortunately, when we were, we got kicked out of the one house that we unfortunately lost. When my parents lost it, we rented for a while, and then they raised the rent to where it was so high, we had to move. So we were staying in a motel environment, and I came in. I was working 2 jobs at the time. My dad was asleep in a chair. My mom was asleep on a single bed, and my little sister was asleep on the floor. So there really wasn't much room for me. At the time, I had a van. Now, if you had a van back in the 70s, you were classified as either a drug addict, a crazy person, or whatever. And I assure you, my father was not a fan of this van, okay, at all. I decided I was going to go out and sleep in my van. But I also decided, no matter what, I will never be in that position. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, I don't know, about 5, 6 months later, my father went to the doctor. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he was dead 11 days later. There was not 1 penny in the bank. There were liens from the IRS. There were tons of bills. We literally had to have a donation to pay for my father's casket. So, if you think that you are in any class, it doesn't matter what class you're in. If you're honest, and if you have integrity, and if you're patient, and you're persistent, you can rise, you can work. You cannot focus on the negativity, and I am certainly somebody that's a living example of that. I'm very proud. I have no issue talking about how difficult those times were. But we picked up the pieces and we moved forward. And obviously today, if we look at the success that I personally have enjoyed, but more importantly, on behalf of working and helping the Seminoles, I mean, we've grown this business over 640% since I met the Seminole Tribe. I mean, you talk about growth, there is nothing like it. The Seminole Tribe is the only investment grade rated company or tribe, but not just tribe, company in the world through Moody's, Standard & Poor, and Fitch. And no other company, not Steve Wynn, not anybody else, has ever achieved that. We have the strongest balance sheet in the business. We're levered at less than 1. Our interest coverage is over 36 times. If we actually released our net income, we would be a Fortune 500 company. Last year, Forbes selected us as one of the most desired companies to work for in the world. We were chosen as the #1 company to work for worldwide in the gaming industry. And even the Sun Sentinel says we're a good place to work. So it does not come easy. It is a commitment from the leaders of the tribe, from the tribal members, and allowing myself and our 12,000 employees here at Seminole Gaming to take this business to the next level. So in closing, what I would suggest to you is, you know, there's always a story, there's always negativity, but find the bright side. Find the good side. Find the humor in the day. Give back to people. You look at the record of the tribe. Myself personally, I've given countless millions to individuals. We try to help people. Give good to others, and good things will come to you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Seminole Hard Rock Hollywood.